So, what are the misconceptions that you've heard about homeschooling? And here's my inside scoop. And as a homeschooler of many, many years, I've heard a lot of misconceptions. And as a homeschooler, not only have I heard a lot of misconceptions, but I've also found that those misconceptions are no way right. Anyway, I'm Jasmine, and welcome back to my world. This is Jasmine's World. Hi, and if you've been here before, welcome back. I'm so glad to see you. And if you're new, please consider subscribing and liking, and you can ask me any question, and I'd love to answer it. If it's something I'm comfortable answering, then I'll answer it, but I'm usually pretty good at answering those questions. You'll notice that I lose my train of thought pretty easily, even though for this video I've actually made myself a little bit of a baseline of the points I want to make and all of that. I didn't write a whole lot, just basic understanding. It's just very brief, basic, what I wrote down. I'm not going to show you guys, that would be spoiling, but just to, and you wouldn't really understand it anyway because I made it only for me to understand, so that I don't just keep going on and on getting off track. Because homeschooling, it's a very broad subject, and it's something that a lot of people have a hard time understanding, especially if they haven't been homeschooled before. Now, if you know me, I'm sure there's some of you who are seeing this video who have known me, and I'm not talking about the people who I've recently met or the people that I work with or any of that. I'm talking about you peeps who have known me since I was a small child. You would know that there are misconceptions of homeschooling, and those misconceptions are not in any way, shape, or form true when it comes to my homeschool experience. And being in an absolute, completely homeschooled base environment for much of my childhood, I can tell you that these misconceptions don't apply to any of the homeschooled kids that I've grown up with and the homeschool friends that I have now. And that's why they're misconceptions. These misconceptions are made by people who've heard things about homeschooling, and they've been spread around by people who don't understand homeschooling, as well as people who are very hate-based when it comes to homeschooling. And for that reason, I could get into it some other time. For that reason, there's been issues when it came to homeschooling as far as educational rights go, where homeschooling has been considered maybe it shouldn't happen. Maybe all of the children should be in a public school environment, and the government should get in on us and get rid of homeschooling, which fortunately hasn't happened, even though the question has come. Now, though, that there's been COVID and lockdowns, and then all these people have hated on homeschooling, little do they realize, yes, you were homeschooling your children during lockdown, because homeschooling is having school at home in a way that is suitable to your child's needs. And a little note to the parents watching this: if you have kids in the public school system, even kids that you're homeschooling, you want to pay attention to this, and I implore you to open up your mind to homeschooling, because it's really not what they say it is. You homeschool your kids before they go to public school. A lot of kids go to preschool already knowing the basics of their colors and how to count and how to talk and all that, because their parents taught them those skills. And so before I get on to the misconceptions, I want to share with you guys my experience as a new homeschooler. Now, I'm not a new homeschooler anymore. In fact, I'm nearly done homeschooling. I don't even think I should really be considered homeschooled at this point, because I'm in college, and so I'm doing school online for the most part. And I'm not necessarily college, But when I was homeschooled, now if you've known me, if you're watching this and you've known me before I was homeschooled, you know that I struggled a lot in a public school setting. The thing that I have had a problem with public school is it has gotten worse throughout the years. I could go on about the politics and all of these things that people are putting in children's minds that are not school. Like, let's focus on the reading and writing, guys, all right? Let's focus on the things that children need to know when they get older in order to get them into college or a higher education. Like, I don't think that it's really necessary to teach them all the things that they're teaching them now, because why? It's school. You learn how to read and write and do math and all of that stuff, which is not what I learned to do in public school. When I was in public school, I have found this to be an issue. A lot of the times, kids are homeschooled not because of the issues that you hear now going on in public schools. A lot of kids are homeschooled now because it's just not the correct setting for them. When I was in public school, I remember my days being full of school, 24/7, school, 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 school. I had no time for anything else. All I did was school, go to school, come home, do school, because I struggled. My mom couldn't help me because she didn't know the curriculum that they were teaching. She would try and I'd be like, "No, that's not how you do it, Mom." And she didn't understand because she was trying to teach me the way that she learned, while the curriculum in the school wasn't that. And so she couldn't help me, and I continued to struggle, and the teachers in the school, they were too busy because everyone else was struggling, which makes you think maybe we should change the curriculum. And they do. They change the curriculum, and it never works. There's a few kids that it works for. A few. Not all. Which is why homeschooling is so important, because public school seems to put all the kids in this box. And I've experienced this as well. I used to be in public school from kindergarten to the middle of 3rd grade. I was in public school. They put these kids in a box, metaphorically speaking, and they label that box as like-minded. All of the kids in that box, the kids in that box, all of them are in that school, and they all have the same curriculum. They all have the same grading system, and it's just like, if you fail, you're a failure. You cannot advance, and we're not going to help you because we're too busy. And your parents can't help you, not because they're busy, but because they don't understand what we're teaching. And that's the whole other reason. When I was in public school, I struggled so much because I could not get help. And my days were filled with school. My nights were filled with school. I remember staying up late trying to get homework finished. On top of that, bringing more schoolwork home that isn't necessarily homework, because I was just not in the environment that I needed to be. I was having a hard time focusing. I was often distracted, and I just couldn't get anything done. And when it came to getting things done at home, I still didn't understand what was happening. It's not necessarily because of the curriculum. It was also because I was having a hard time concentrating. But then again, no one was helping. And you can't just have kids stay during recess and stay during lunch and stay during snack times, as I often was. And that's why I say that when I was in public school, the majority of what I did was school. Day and night. I'd go to bed, wake up, do school, go to bed, wake up, do school, go to bed, wake up, do school. The only free time I had was during the weekend. And then it would all resume on Monday, because I would bring home my schoolwork. I'd work on school during meal times. I'd work on school during my breaks. Like, I did not get rest until the weekend because no one was helping me. The people who could help, my mom, she helped greatly. She taught me how to read because there's only one way to teach people how to read. She was able to do that. Everything else, reading and spelling, those are the two things that I advanced in. Everything else, I sucked at those. Everything else, everything else, the math, the grammar, like, my mom could only do so much. At this point, she might as well had been homeschooling me because everything I had learned in public school and had actually been able to advance in was because of my mom. My mom taught me how to read. My mom taught me how to write. My mom got me better at addition and subtraction. She helped me understand them even better, even though she didn't teach me how to do it the way the curriculum wanted me to do, which is part of the reason why I failed. Because in public school, if you don't do it the way they want you to do it, you fail. And there's no way around it. You do what the curriculum tells you, you do what the teacher tells you, you succeed, or you fail. And I tried. I've always tried when I was in public school to do what I was supposed to do. But again, it's all going around here that it wasn't the correct location for me to be in. It wasn't the correct environment. And when I was dealing with school, I was also dealing with the constant bullying of other students. Again, the teachers were too busy. In fact, most of the time, the teachers disciplined the students who weren't to blame. I was often in trouble because no reason, really. I was often in trouble because some other kid did something and blamed me for it. And that kid got away scot-free. And that kid was able to continue the bullying while the bullied were also being bullied by the teachers as they were being punished for something they never did. And I remember, for that reason, when I was in public school, I was more antisocial in public school than I was as a homeschooler. Which brings me to the misconceptions that people come up with when it comes to homeschooling. The misconception is we're antisocial. We don't like other people. And if we don't like being around strangers, it's because we were homeschooled. Does that make sense? Like, of course you don't like being around other people. You're homeschooled. You're not used to it. You're not around other people. You don't like being around other people because you're not used to being around other people. That's not it. When I was younger, I was very social. I'm still very social. And just because now I understand that the world is more dangerous than I understood that it was when I was younger, now I understand how dangerous the world can be, and so I'm more cautious around strangers than I was when I was younger. You could pick up a conversation with me when I was younger, and I wouldn't care. I would get on in it. I'd tell you my whole life story. But now I don't really do that anymore. Now I'm kind. I smile at you. I go along with what you're saying. I pick up the small talk with you. But other than that, I mind my own business. I do what I do. You do what you do. I don't know you. You don't know me. You can pick up a conversation, but I'm not going to keep going along with it. And there's that misconception there. Oh, you were homeschooled. That's why you don't like talking to other people in person. That's why you don't like strangers. No. I'm just smart. I don't like strangers because I'm smart. I don't get myself into situations with strangers because I'm smart. I'll talk to you. I don't mind being around you. I'm not going to put myself in a corner and glare at everyone who comes my way, and I'm not going to avoid going out in public, much like most of the public schoolers you see. See, these misconceptions that people have of homeschooling, what I find to be funny about most of them is they apply to public school. I was most antisocial in public school because all of the kids that I would come in contact with were bullies. They were mean to me. Of course, I was going to be antisocial because nobody liked me in that setting. So the whole antisocialness, I became more and more social as a homeschooler because I was around people that I could actually have something in common with, and I was around other people that they were kind, and I wasn't afraid of them. And there's so many of these misconceptions that people have of homeschoolers that apply to public school, not homeschool. Of course, the whole misconception thing, the majority of them are untrue when it comes to homeschooling. But some of them are true. The antisocial, that really is a personality thing. Like, I say it's a personality thing. When I was younger, I was highly extroverted. I loved being around people I didn't know. I loved it. I loved meeting new people. Today, I still like meeting new people, but as I say, it's a personality thing. Not only am I more cautious around people I don't know because I know the world out there is big and dangerous, and I'm a small, puny human, I'm not, part of it is a personality. If I'm not comfortable, it's not just because I'm being careful, it's also my personality. I like myself, and sometimes I just don't want to. While in public school, it was not a personality thing at all. It was, this place is dangerous, this place is scary, no one likes me, everyone's mean, I'm not going to engage. And the whole antisocial thing is a misconception because another reason why I became so social as a homeschooler was because I had more opportunity to be social. Remember when I said that when I was in public school, all I really did was school and avoid the bullies? As a homeschooler, all I did wasn't just school. As a homeschooler, I had more opportunities because I was able to understand my school. I was able to have the discipline and motivation instilled in me to complete my schoolwork and to learn and understand, and I had the proper help I needed. Therefore, I was able to do more things. I was able to do way more things. I was able to pick up sports. I enjoyed soccer very much as a youngster. I loved competitive swimming. I loved music. I picked up many instruments as a homeschooler. I picked up piano, I picked up clarinet, I picked up saxophone, I picked up violin. I've dabbled in a few other instruments in a music camp, and I've been able to pick up skiing and soccer and basketball and competitive swimming. I remember doing bocce once. I did snowshoeing. I did so many things as a homeschooler that I didn't get a chance to do as a public schooler. And that is why the antisocial misconception applies to public school and not homeschool. Not because of the personality. I know I said that most of it is personality. Some of it is personality. But the majority of it is the environment that you're in, that you grow up in. Like I said, nobody wants to talk to bullies. Nobody wants to talk to other people if they're just going to throw you down. Once you get that in your head that, oh, I'm in school now, I need to keep to myself, these people are going to be mean, they're going to harm me, and nobody's on my side. I can't even understand what I'm doing, so therefore, I'm going to ignore everything. Versus as a homeschooler, I was not that at all. I found that there are nice people out there, and that I am actually not stupid. There's another misconception. So people think that because homeschoolers are being educated by their parents that they're just stupid, right? Oh, your parents didn't graduate high school. Or your parents didn't go to college. Oh, your parents didn't get the grades they needed in as an education and as a child. So, and they're teaching you, so you're stupid because they don't have the skills they need to teach you. Well, I was stupid in public school because nobody had the time to educate me the way I needed to be educated. Because once again, they put all the kids in this box and they label it all the same. Everything works for all the kids, and if it doesn't work, well, they have special needs. But we're not going to help them because we don't have the time. And while I did have special needs as a smaller child, that didn't make me stupid. And I was viewed as stupid because I didn't understand anything. And that's something that comes up with me throughout my entire life, just knowing that as a younger child, I had a harder time. I didn't understand anything. I just didn't get it because nobody was able to teach it to me in a way that I could understand because, again, they didn't have the time. It wasn't the curriculum. I was stuffed in this box with others, labeled the same. And so they think the homeschoolers are stupid. Meanwhile, homeschoolers are having the education they need that fits to their brain because they're not put in a box. Just because someone's parents didn't get the grades they should have had when they were younger doesn't mean that when they homeschool their kids are going to be dumb. Because people are able to learn, people are able to change, and when it comes to homeschooling, remember when I said that homeschoolers use curriculums and learning styles that work for them and they're not put in a box? That's it. It's about their curriculum. You give a homeschooler a curriculum that they understand, they learn. Amazing how it works, honestly. If these misconceptions were gone, and mostly if these misconceptions were not applied to homeschooling, the whole antisocial and stupid, I say stupid lightly because just because you can't learn very well, that doesn't make you stupid. It just means you don't understand very well because, again, nobody is there to help you understand. And the people who are there, they don't understand themselves. And whatever they teach you, it's not going to work because you're in a box. You're supposed to do it a certain way. Any other way is just, guess you're stupid. So if these misconceptions that are considered a problem, if these misconceptions weren't put on homeschooling and they were put on a public education, then the public education would be better because people would recognize that, hey, people aren't supposed to be lumped in a box, especially when it comes to learning. So, that is the inside scoop around homeschooling on a homeschooler. So I gave you the inside scoop there. And, yeah. As always, thank you for coming to my world. And I hope that you are now informed and those misconceptions don't go biting you in the nub whenever you meet a homeschooler and find that we're not as bad as they think we are. Anyway, bye!